I was talking earlier with Ramon and kind of explaining, who you are.
Right.
I mean, to me,
Me too.
in the importance of my life and how I see you in relation to Jamaican music history and where we are today. And I really do believe that people like you are part of, what is so fundamental. Like when you started playing 5 string and 6 string or whatever,
Right.
in order to mimic synthesizers and so on.
Right.
I mean, that changed the whole ethos of how we see music on stage and performance and opening up opportunities for music, for markets and stuff.
Right.
And that's you guys that did that, you Dean and those guys. But let's kind of talk a little more personal in a way about how did you get on this journey? When did it start, this journey of playing the guitar?
Well, initially it started in the UK because I'm from the UK, born and raised there, and I left there when I was 11 years old. And I started guitar in the primary school there, so I started at the age of 7.
Wow.
And continued with the music classes there up until 9, and then my parents, seeing that I was pretty serious about it, started taking me to private guitar lessons, and of course that opened up a whole different avenue in terms of not only doing the basic chord structures at school and playing basic melodies, but getting into actual classical guitar music.
Right. So I mean, at 9 years old, they saw that you were serious. I mean, what was that mean? That you were enjoying it, or that you were really focused on?
I was really focused and I was really enjoying it, and I think my parents saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So my father would take me to a guitar class every Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
In the UK, and I did that for 2 years up until I was age 11, and then we migrated to Jamaica, and that was the first time we stayed in Jamaica at age 11.
Age 11.
At age 11, and I was wholly and solely playing classical music, not reggae. I mean, I was exposed and open to listening to a lot of rock steady and 70s reggae and all that because I left Jamaica. I left the UK in 1975, in the month of September to be exact.
Right.
But listening to different genres and different types of stuff going on the TV, I just knew that I wanted to become a musician. If not a musician, a soldier or a police. And of course, music chose me and I chose music.
Right. And so, at 11 years old, you're in Jamaica.
Right.
You had a teacher? Who was your teacher? Classical guitar teacher?
When my parents returned to Jamaica, we moved to the parish of St. Anne.
Okay.
And we were living in Runaway Bay. And my mother was teaching at Orchard Secondary School at the time. And there was a teacher by the name of Lenny Hibbert.
Yes, Lenny
Hibbert. I saw that there was a music department, and I was anxious to go and see what was going on. So when my mother enrolled me in the school, I decided to go and inquire to see what was going on. And I saw them with saxophones, trombones, trumpets, everything going on. So I went up to the teacher and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Hibbert, but I play guitar." He would say, "Okay, nice, but right now today you're going to learn a wind instrument." So basically, he exposed me and taught me how to play the euphonium.
Oh wow.
And then from the euphonium to the tuba, and then finally I moved on to the trombone.
Okay.
And even during that time, I was watching the bass player that was there and the guitarist, but they had already started their guitar lessons outside of the school and they were doing private lessons. But nobody in classical guitar, and I wanted to do classical. So that year, which I only stayed at Orchard Secondary School, that was in 1977, just for 1 year. Then my mother realized I wasn't going to my other classes. Everything was just music. So she moved me from there to Iona High School in St. Mary.
Okay.
And then there now was a private high school. And the music teacher there his name was Mr. Baker, and he was a classical guitarist.
Mr. Baker. You remember his first name?
I think Ernie Baker.
Ernie.
Ernie Baker. So that helped me.
He was a Jamaican?
No, he was from America.
American?
Yes,
Wow.
a white man from America.
Mhm.
And he just wanted to, he came down on an exchange program. And when I realized that my mother moved me, I said, oh, this is it for me for music now. But no, she had her plan, said, no, so, all right. So going there, I realized that, well, it's not that bad after all, because at least he plays classical guitar.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to get more into.
Yeah.
Not to say reggae music, but I wanted to be more open-minded in continuing on where I left from the UK with classical guitar. So I stayed there from second form up to fifth form doing classical guitar. Now, during that time, I enrolled in the Jamaica School of Music. So that was in the early 80s.
Early 80s.
Yeah, that's
so
before
you're about 15, 16?
About 14, 15.
14, 15.
Well,
From
not-
Iona?
From Iona, and I used to come on a Saturday, part-time.
Oh.
It's just part-time now. So the thing is now, I joined the band and I was playing trombone in the school band at that time.
Well, you knew a little trombone
I knew a
from,
little trombone.
from Lenny Hibbert time.
Yeah, from the Lenny Hibbert time. So I used that, and at the same time, I just used one stone and killed the two birds. And I
Right.
started to do a little guitar on the side. So that's when also I was going there part-time. That was from 1982 to 1983, 84, and then I enrolled into the college full-time. as a
Meaning
student.
when it was a Jamaica School of Music
Jamaica
at
School.
the Cultural Training Center.
At the Cultural Training Center at that time. And then that's where now I met Ray Hitchens.
Mm.
And then Ray says, oh, you have a lot of potential. Because he wanted to introduce me to electric guitar. And I said, no, I want to learn more classical guitar.
Wow.
And at the same time, I said, if I'm going to play anything electric, it would have been the bass guitar.
Interesting. So I see that Lenny Hibbert exposed you to some bass instruments through the wind instruments.
Through the wind instrument.
Right, tuba
Tuba.
and trombone.
Yes.
And you would have seen that whole world of a wider world of band music.
Yes, definitely.
And then interesting.
And then that's where now I saw how he used to teach the band and get the ensemble together. And I was like, whoa. And he had great control over that. And all the students were obedient. They would listen to him. And I think I said, well, if I'm playing trombone and if I'm going to play guitar, for me, I just was so attached to classical music.
Right.
Not say reggae, but if it would have been the bass, it would have been on the bass guitar, and there were two students already doing that. So there was no space for me. But I was admiring them and watching what they were doing, but at the same time still learning my trombone and going home and practicing my classical guitar to myself.
So what program would you have enrolled in at the Jamaica School of Music? Was it, so it was the classical?
No, at
It was-
the time, when I entered the college section, no, because remember I went in the junior department first,
Right.
part-time. And then from that was around 2 years, and then I was able to qualify to get into the college, and that was CSMT.
Certificate of School Music
Music
Teaching.
Teaching.
Yes.
So that's what I did at that time. And I was in that department, and then I still would go over to the AA department,
The African American Division.
American Division. And then during that time, I think that's when you came on
Yeah,
board.
I came around about 1980. What was it? 1985.
Around that time.
Around that time.
Yes.
I got my guitar in 1984.
Okay. Yes.
At Manny's, yes.
Right, and then of course I saw you, and then we were able to link up, and you saw that I was doing some classical guitar and stuff. And
Right.
your father was a classical guitarist at the time.
Well, he was an amateur.
He was an amateur.
Classical
Yeah.
guitarist.
Mhm.
I know that you and Ray and Andrew Simpson
Andrew Simpson.
used to play music together, right?
Yes.
Used to do some classical guitar,
Yeah,
some
classical guitar, some
trios
trio
and
pieces.
trio pieces and
Yes.
so on. I came and heard that, but I didn't really get to experience it. You know, I heard about it and I saw a little bit of it. I got Gregory Alliston
Oh, Gregory
as
Aston,
a
yes.
teacher.
Oh, as a teacher. Oh.
And Ray taught me, Ray taught me guitar a lot, lots of different styles of guitar. But Greg was my classical guitar.
Okay.
And Patrick McDonald was my
And Patrick,
jazz.
yeah.
Jazz.
I was able to do from grade 5 while doing this CSMT course. I was able to do from grade 5 practical, grade 6 practical, grade 7, and grade 8 practical with Ray Hitchens.
Right.
You went right up.
So you went to grade 8, and
Grade
then
8.
when and you did the LRSM?
I did the LRSM, but I failed by 6 marks.
Oh, by 6 marks.
By 6 months.
Wow.
And Paulie Bellamy was there outside listening, and John, they were outside there listening. But that time it just took a lot out of you, because LRSM is no joke.
Right.
You know, and if I'm needing to do it now, at this stage of my life, I'll have to like really just focus on that for a year and nothing else, no other genre, just classical music.
Right. I'm interested in the impact of the CS, the certificate in school music teaching.
Right.
Has that contributed to where you are now, or was it just something that you did?
I think it was something that I did because I think at the time the school recognized, or Mr. Gorman recognized, that I should have done the certificate in instrumental teaching.
Right. That's what Sean did.
Right, instead of the classroom.
Right.
So I eventually switched over to that. So that was more, to me, more of an impact, seeing that, because I started teaching students guitar part-time, but these were really the in-service teachers from the schools.
Right. Right, they would come in one day. They had a day release program.
They had day release.
I think they came in on a Friday or something like
yeah,
that.
so I was, and sometimes on a Wednesday. So they had put me in charge of some of those students, and it was interesting. So I got a chance to, you know, pass on some of my guitar skills of learning how to play. You know, and instead of, I mean, this is a. At the same time, I'm saying, apart from doing it in 4, but just do it openly, using a picking style.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Apart from the brushing technique, but like so it was nice for them to be doing the brushing, right? But more of the picking. So just that, like, just imagine transferring what you have an idea of the piano to guitar, you know. So that's what I really wanted to bring them to the forefront. And it was working, and it actually worked.
So you're at this School of Music.
Yeah.
How now did this transition to bass happen? Was that when Cedric Imbrooks came into the picture?
That was when
or was there something before?
No, that's when Cedric Imbrooks came into the picture. And apart from doing the teaching course, I said to myself that I want to be rounded. Instead of just classroom and not be able to deal with the stage as a balanced person. I said, no man. I mean, during my class break times, I would go out to the performance department and watch the band playing and say, no man, I need to create a band between the learning, what the classroom teach management, and how to perform on stage. So at the same time, I said earlier on that if I'm to do an electrical instrument, it wouldn't be the electric guitar. Ray Hitchens tried to get me to do the rock guitar, and I said, no, Ray, acoustic guitar, acoustic. And if I'm going to go over into another electrical instrument, it would be the bass guitar.
Right.
So I kind of had an eye on that from Orchard Secondary School.
Right. Okay.
But it was easy for me to move from there to that, not from guitar to bass. Now, in doing so, I was auditioned by Carl McCloskey, otherwise called Bowie.
Yes.
Who was a keyboard player for Stephen Marley.
Right.
So he auditioned me and said, all right, Fletcher, we're going to try and see if we can fit into our class band and school band over here. So I said, sure.
Was that the RT9 band?
RT9.
RT9. Yeah. Legendary or the mythical RT9.
So RT9, 809, everything, I'm thinking about, So it was Boyd. I said, man, come in and play. And then from there, I started to just get more into the bass, and I said, yeah. And I realized, my mother always said, son, you need to have a backup. Just, do teach, but at the same time, you can do the performance part of things. So I said, Mom, what I really want to do is to perform. So from there now, I was able to link up with one of my other students that I was teaching some guitar to, Pam Hall.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Who was fairly well established
Was for well established,
at
but
that time.
she had to do some guitar skills,
Mhm.
and I was advised that I'm the one who's going to be teaching her.
Nice.
And then we were some classes going on, and I started to get a little bit more frustrated with the whole thing that being done at the school. And I said to myself, I need to move on. And here comes Palm says, Mikey, would you be willing to do a hotel job in Ocho Rios? I say, yeah. Never played in a hotel before.
Right.
And that's how it just came about. So from that, I went down there in the latter part of 85 going into 1986.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yes. And this was right in American, no, it was a Sheraton
Right.
in Ocho Rios. I was there for a year and a half, and then I moved over to the Americana Hotel.
Right.
And that was interesting too. So it was really thanks to Pam Hall. She's the one that saw the time to me and said, Mikey, you're not a bad bass player now. You're all right now. I'm going to introduce you to those guys in Ocho Rios so you can get into the hotel scene. And I was there basically for 2.5 years, and then one day I did a gig with Dean Fraser and Sonny Bradshaw.
Okay, they came down to the hotel?
No, I was playing with the big band, off and on.
Right.
And then we had this gig in Old Harbor. And then Sonny says, Mikey, Dean Fraser is going to be our guest tonight. You're going to play bass. And I said, and when Dean came, and I said, after that, I said, Dean, I really want to play in a performing band. I want to go and tour.
Right.
And do you remember all that time we were with Father Ho Long?
Yes. So that was So that's when.
Yes.
Right. That time.
And he said, don't worry, man. Don't worry. So it so happens that we went away with Father Ho Long.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I got a voice note and said, this is Dean Fraser, link me later at this number. Called it. He said, hey man, come in, 809 band don't need a bass player. Because Derek Barney was no longer available. He was playing with Sagittarius. And Glenn Brown was just a few because he was playing with Jimmy Cliff. So me, I entered 809 band as the youngest member.
Wow.
At 24.
Wow. Very cool.
And then from there, the rest is history.
Right. And how did Cedric Imbrooks play a role? Because I know there was a Cedric Imbrooks.
Yeah.
Was it the first time that you actually played bass on stage? I remember somebody like he called on you at the last minute.
It really started from School of Music.
Right.
That transition when I got a chance to be auditioned by Boy, and then Cedric saw what was going on and said, "You have potential. We have a gig tonight. Come and play." And I had to get more into jazz songs, more standard songs. And at this time, I was mostly into a lot of the classical stuff and that stuff.
Which group was that? Was that Lighter Saba?
No, it was just Cedric Brooks and Friends.
Cedric Brooks and Friends.
Yes, because at that time on guitar was Leonard Scott.
Yes, my God.
Oh. And
that was jazz. That
was jazz, yeah.
Any of Cedric's like Afrocentric?
Yes, Afrocentric pieces. And sometimes he'll just start a melody and say, just start a movement and just follow me.
Just follow, yeah.
Very improv, very open. Right. So when I got a chance to play with him while at School of Music, part-time with him out there, and of course Harold Butler too. I got a chance to play all that with Harold Butler. Still a very super talented keyboard player. And then Margie Wiley.
Right.
She was also teaching at School of Music, and then Margie would have small gigs. Margie said, Mikey, you have a thing going on, you come and check me, man. And I did a lot of the gigs with her at the Wyndham at the time.
Right.
She was playing there.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
Yes. So, all that, and it just evolved from.
So, was 809, and what about the Mutual Life jazz players? How did that? Because there was also that was happening.
Right, that was.
Was that Cedric that brought you into Mutual
Cedric
Life?
opened that door there. And this is that time I used to see a bass player by the name of Richie White.
Yes.
He was playing with Desi Jones and Rupert Bent, and I believe it was John Williams on keyboard. It was John. But at the time now, Richie, I used to watch him a lot and admire his playing, and then he migrated to Florida.
Yes.
And then that's how I came within that scene. So
he was very much Jaco. He liked Jaco Pastorius.
Very much.
Very much.
Fully. And so I'm saying, playing with Cedric here now, I'm getting a chance to be open-minded in playing with Marjorie, then Harold Butler, and Cedric Brooks.
And the Mutual Life jazz players, if I'm correct, allowed more fusion
Stuff.
of an experimentation.
Yes, and experimentation, and that was more myself, no, Desi Jones, John Williams, and that time Rupert Ben Senior.
Okay.
And then of course we would have guest artists that would come and sing this or perform this at the Mutual Life. And that was, I'd say, in the early 90s.
How is all of this impacting your musical development? Are you changing?
Yeah.
Are you changing because you're moving from this 9-year-old boy who got more focus.
Right, yeah.
You know, was showing well, right?
Yeah.
And then you have all these experiences, some of them not under your control. It's just where, you move to Jamaica and where you with parish you're in and all that.
Right.
Do you find now that you are finding yourself, your voice, or your own creative or your own preference? Are you getting more strident about what you want and what you need?
Right, because I'm finding that, finally I must say, I can say that I'm finding my road, my path. Being with 809 from 1987 to 1995 opened up a lot of avenues in terms of backing artists. So, and Dean and Namo said, yes, you play, because the first gig that I did, Namo said, I'm not quite sure if this youth is going to make it.
24 years old, 24-year-old youth.
And Namo said, boy, Dean, I don't know, I don't know if this youth going to make it. And Dean said, don't worry, man. I will take him to go some dance, man. I'll make Fletcher. Don't worry, man. And they're nervous, and that time you had Winston Boyne in the band.
Yes.
May so rest in peace. And Gibby, Paul Castic.
Castic was there from those early days?
Yes, Castic was there. Mikey Boo was there first, from 87 to 1987 to 1989. And then after that, that's when Castic came in.
Okay.
Because Mikey Boo decided to play with the Wailers.
Right. I remember Mikey Boo having this phenomenal one drop.
Oh gosh.
I could not.
Yes.
Up to this day, when people talk about one drop, I just feel like, guys, you don't know what one drop is. Like this thing, this drop leaf thing that I'm doing, it's not. Mikey Boo's out of this world. I learn a lot from I learn a lot from crazy.
Mikey Boo. Say this is all, listen to my hand, listen to my kick. So I learn a lot from Mikey Boo. And then here comes Castic, and then we just took it to another level in our own way.
Yes.
And as I say, from there I got a chance to work with a lot of artists, the I3s, Max Priest, Chaperangs, and you name it. The list just come, because 809 was a strong backing band.
Right.
Of course you had Lloyd Parks, but here comes now you have 809. And I just decided to just grow from there, because the hotel was, I thought I was playing in a hotel until I realized that up until 87, 88, it helped me to a point, but I realized that I started to outgrow that part of it, because I wanted to perform on stage.
Right.
And then here comes an opening for 809, and it was a perfect time to play with a band like that. And not only that, but you're drawn by some stalwart musician, because you're forced to play now. And you thought I thought I was playing in a hotel.
No, you weren't playing?
No, that was just a start.
I have not heard a band since like 809.
One of a kind.
Not just one of a kind. The standard.
That's what I'm saying. That.
Because for example,
keep up.
when I think of the Stevie Wonder song that you guys used to do.
Which one?
Da 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 da. Part-time lover.
Oh.
And you guys would do it. I mean, that was early days music industry, computer stuff. Yeah. But the way you guys would execute that with such precision, with the compound time and the harmonies.
And to be honest with you, 809 to me was a school.
Right.
And even up to now, it's still a school, because up to now I'm still doing sessions with Dean Fraser. And I'm able to bring ideas to the table, and he accepts them. And he might have a gig here or there, and I still play along with him. Now, to me, it's a school that evolved from there now, getting me more mature, more advanced in terms of what I wanted to do, bass-wise now.
Right.
Because at that time I was playing 5-string, and then from there now into Shaggy now, because Shaggy saw us in Japan.
So who?
The 809.
809 in Japan.
Yeah, well, this was Japan Splash.
This is what year?
This was like between 1990 up to 94.
Okay.
And that time he had Old Carolina out in around 92.
Right.
and he came with his band from New York. But when he heard us on Japan Splash, he said, "No man, these musicians are kicking strong."
Right.
And he said, that was one year. We backed him in '93, and then when we came back in '94, he saw us again and said, "No, this is the band. The musicians like this that I wanted." So he chose myself, Castic, and Birch. But I wasn't there when the decision making was going on, because at that time, when I came out to Jamaica, I went on tour with the Mighty Diamonds to the UK as their musical director. So when I got back to Jamaica, that's when Castic and Birch to me said, "Yo, Fletcher, Shaggy's, he wants us and he wants you to play bass."
I'm sorry, you just kind of glossed over something there. You were the musical director for the Mighty Diamonds?
Right, at the time, I just went on a one run,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted a musical MD to just run that concert. We had a series of shows
Right.
in the UK, and that was in early 96,
Right.
95, 96. By this time, the 809 band was like, everybody kind of doing their thing here and there, experimenting with different projects. Gibby was starting his dub metal project. He
Right.
did more rock guitar.
It was Bird and Simo.
And Simo and all that stuff. So I said, all right. They asked me the time and said, "Fletcher, do you want to come and direct the band in the UK? Because we're going there, so we need somebody strong like you to direct the band." And I said, "Sure." So I did that when I came back now, and then Shaggy says he was ready for a new band. And then that was basically, say, the movement from 809 now over to Shaggy now. That was, for me, that opened on another avenue of international doors.
Right.
So playing more basses, different types of basses, and appreciating the styles of music you're playing, and how we had a chance to execute them and just getting a lot of exposure.
Right.
No, that being said, no, in all of my mind, I'm from a family of teachers. So my mother's a retired teacher.
Okay.
My brother still teaches, and my sisters are still teaching. So it's like, it just finally still, I had it in me all this time. Because remember, in the 80s, I was going to school of music and doing a teaching course. So it still was in the back of my mind to say, one day, apart from touring, I'm going to give back to the students. So that's why in 2010 now, when all is said and done now, Ibu Cooper got in touch with me and said, "Mikey, we need for you to invigilate at Edna Mandela College now."
Right.
I said, okay.
At
so
the School of Music?
At the School of Music.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I did it 1 year, and then the following year I said, "Well, Mikey, we like what you're doing, and, we need for you, are you open to doing some part-time teaching?" So I said, "Yeah," with some pop-on songs there, and that was right up my avenue. I said, I wanted to give back to the school and to the youngsters that were coming up, because I actually went through the same avenue. So that means the transition happened right there. So I decided to say, all right, I ended up from 2010 up until 2016, but in between that time, I said, I still have to keep a balance. Teaching, lecturing, performing. Because the students have to see you what you're doing.
Right.
And I just decided to, okay, students, this is it now. In 2016, I decided that I'm going back full-time touring. And that's where it is now. But I'm still having students who are performing here, there, and everywhere.
Okay.
And still, giving them and encouraging them and showing them stuff still.
So you went back to touring what year? You remember? Just
touring around 2016, but I was
2016.
Right, but I was part-time with it, say 2012, 2013, because between 2010 to 2013, I was still touring with Shaggy.
Okay.
And at that time, things had changed for him and for even me, because I wanted to be on a wider program now. And I said to him, I need to take a different avenue. Because it was, from 19, I was there for 17 years.
You were with Shaggy for 17 years. Wow.
So I said, it's time to move on now and to do what I have to do and to focus on what more Michael Fletcher is about.
Right.
And that's what happened. So up to 2013, I was with them. After 2013, I decided, this is it now, and I need to focus.
Right.
Because at the same time at Edna Mandela College, I was teaching these ensembles and getting the students out there to perform with different groups and so forth.
Right.
And then that's basically what happened. So 2013 now, I was focused more, I was full-time at the college. And it was difficult now to do a full-time job and still
Right, of
tour.
course.
So I had to make a decision in 2016, and I decided it's time to get back into the streets.
And you're now, have you returned to touring with
Yeah.
Shaggy?
No, not with Shaggy, no, because I had resigned from Shaggy now in 2013.
Okay.
And because I started in the Money College in 2010 and was still touring with him, but at that time his touring period had slowed down.
I see.
So I was able to balance with the teaching part-time
Right.
while touring with him off and on. But no, 2013 came when he was doing some more stuff, and then I realized that, well, hold on, I can maintain my lifestyle here with my family, you know, being married with my kids, and I said, let me do this and at the same time give back to the school and to the new upcoming students that want to get into a band,
Right.
understanding how to perform, knowing the rules and regulations and what it takes to be a good performer and to get out there.
So, who are you touring with now?
Alba Rosie.
Alba Rosie, okay.
Yes, and at one time I was part-time, I was doing the Jacure part, and at one time I was with Freddie McGregor.
Freddie McGregor,
Yeah.
okay.
And then these artists were touring like every weekend. So it worked out to be at school to a point and touring with them,
Right.
you know. But after a while it came to that point where I was missing classes.
Right.
And then so I had to make a serious decision. By this time I created some impact on the students from 2010 to now in terms of telling them about the road. Don't wait until you finish school before you get out there. So if in year 2, start to do little gigs here and there so you can understand what it takes to be a performer. However, at school, still do your classes.
Right. Do you think that's ideal, or would you prefer that there are more performing opportunities within the school curriculum so that they don't have to leave?
No, but yeah, because the thing is at the school, they have first of all, they have a degree in teaching,
Right.
classroom teaching, and they have a degree in performance. My take on it is that in year 3, for the classroom teachers, they go on teaching experience.
I see what you're saying.
They should have the same thing for performance students.
I see what you're saying.
So I was trying to say to them, listen, when the ensembles, when these students move from year 1 to year 2 to year 3,
Right.
we should set them on performance practice.
I see what
Like
you're saying.
Edna Manor College in association with the Pegasus, or
Right.
in association with Turnover, something like that.
That makes sense.
To get them out there, and then we would go and grade them.
Right.
Then
At Berkeley, they have so many concert venues because they have within the school,
Yes.
I mean, several small ensemble
Yes.
areas and large halls, and they have coffee houses and so on, so that without leaving the school,
yes,
you're getting the equivalent, even better experiences than on the road.
yeah, that is neat.
And people from outside come in
And we also, no,
and
that is
pay
neat.
money and enjoy and so
That's
on.
neat. And
So
yeah,
I
that-
see what you're saying.
Yeah,
It
that's
makes sense that from a curriculum point of
Cultural
view,
point of view.
because it's like a medical doctor.
Yeah.
You know, there is this period of internship and with lawyers. There's all of that. You
I
know,
think, yeah, I think
it
the
has to
school-
be in our curriculum.
Yeah, I think the school could organize that some more. And
Yeah.
make it more structured instead of the students having to fend for themselves and go out there
Yeah, yeah,
and try to hustle
of
here,
course.
there, and get out there. No, there are enough platforms. We have the North Coast. We have the South Coast. We have Negril. We have Montego Bay. We have Ocho-Rios.
Right.
We have even places in Kingston where it could happen. But I think that the school would have to take more of an initiative to take control of that. As I said, Edna Manor College in association with the
Right.
Pegasus, and even I've seen the students perform or whatever, and then we go and grade them. That when year 4 comes on now, year 4, when they to do their final year show, they'll be more rounded, more prepared. They
Right.
wouldn't feel like they're so much under pressure trying to catch up into putting on this A-class, A1 performance
Right,
at
of
school.
course.
They would have been more tutored and been more and more prepared.
You said something about them being on their own. Is there a danger to the students going out there? I mean, are there risks in going out there unsupervised in the world of touring? And I mean, are there possibilities of getting in with the wrong crowd or
Yes.
harming yourself in some way?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I said, I had to take a look back. And when Ibo asked me to start in 2010, I mean, I had a lot of discussions with them, talking with them and telling it's students are not just to play a bass line organized. So it's not just they learn a song and they go out and play tomorrow. No, I would tell them what I think would be recommended for them and how their approach and how they go about it.
Right.
You know, and because you have some students that will just go out there and if they get $5, they get $1.50.
Right.
Why are you going to do that?
Right.
If you're going to play with an artist, give them some idea of who the artist is, what are they checking you about to do and all that. And then I got the students to trust me. So listen, I know this artist, sometimes I would represent the students, say, I realize that you're going to use one of my students to play in your ensemble, your band.
Right.
What is going on? What are you about? What are your plans? What's the pay like? You know.
So you're filling almost like a management
yes,
role.
Yes.
So that's missing. That's missing in our industry for musicians.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you see what happens, you know, you have some artists that will say, well, them no students, man, them young man, them a starter thing.
Right.
Yeah, but you're working with the starters. There's a reason why.
Right. They have value.
They have value.
Right.
And then someone else said, why them have to do it for exposure? I said, well, what do you call exposure? Remember that the students have bills same way. They have to get to school, they have to eat, they have rent to pay, their books to pay. All of these things, so you have to take this into consideration.
And it would be good if they could quantify what exposure means.
Yes.
Because oftentimes the exposure is not defined.
No, it's not defined.
In any way.
It's not defined. So that's why majority of the artists that I know, and even to the present day, I was still talk with one or two of the artists and say, you know, you're using this artist or that this student, sure, not a problem. Just remember so and so, you know, per them pay.
Right.
You know, just relate to him, let him know what's going on, don't hide anything.
Right.
And so far so good. But it's just to get the students to understand what it takes to go out there and tour. Like most of the students that are with full-time musicians now with Chronics, full-time musicians now with Protege.
Right.
Just to name two, and then you have Bush Banta now who's using Kenil on drums. He's one of my students. I said, Kenil, you're getting this opportunity, go for it. Just do what you have to do.
Right.
Don't let it slip. But he did an audition and he did very well. So these are the things that we're talking about. We have another student of mine, Otmar Campbell. He's playing with me. With
Otmar
Campbell.
Ottmar.
Campbell. Right, Campbell. And he plays keyboards for Alberosia. He's one of my students out of the school too.
Right.
And we have many more students who are playing in different bands with these artists that are out there doing that thing. And it's very important now that there's a change, you know. And as I say, from the western side of Jamaica to the eastern side, and that the artists are trusting these students, what they're doing, and their musical involvement, their creativity, their level of maturity, and understanding the music business.
Right.
And not going out there and work for free. And not, at the same time, not utilizing the students, not just using them, but understand them and respect them for what they are. Like you have Kibaka Pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Those are majority of my students out of Edmond College that they're still there to this present day.
Right.
To build with an artist, to grow with an artist is important.
Would you say that your parents supported you in your journey, or
Oh yes.
did they
Yes.
understand it? Did they?
Initially, when my mother wanted me to do the teaching course, she says the teaching, but when she realized I was getting into performance now, she says, oh no, Lord Jesus, you go play with some rasta head man there now, and this and smoke weed and take drugs. I said, Mom, what are you talking about?
Right.
And she lived to see, wow, I'm proud of your son. Okay. And my father said, wow, you didn't do that. I don't know. You live and learn. I didn't have to. I mean, it was so much around me. I knew the right from wrong.
Right.
And said, I'm not going there.
Right. Right.
You know?
Or what do you attribute your ability to know right from wrong? Is that just from your home, or was it the type of education that you had?
Exposure. Exposure. From home, being told what to do and to look out for this and that. And being at the college at the time, at School of Music, and being able to do small gigs out there with these different artists was like doing a gig with Cedric, doing a gig with Marjorie, doing a gig with Harold. It was just so different with Sonny Bradshaw at the Tavern at the Pegasus at the time. Tuesday nights. So I was out until late. So I was able to see a lot. Right. So yeah, you get a chance to get proper exposure and good exposure. then you know the right from wrong.
This journey that you've gone through obviously many genres, and you've traveled the world, playing reggae music,
Right.
pop music,
Yes.
jazz, and some other things. What role has the classical guitar played in all of that? Was it an advantage, disadvantage? Did you have to unlearn things, or was it an asset to your journey?
I set top point in terms of me getting exposure to the 5-string bass, and sometimes to the 6-string, being able to play chordal patterns or lines or whatever. But the classical guitar, it just exposed me to knowing how to appreciate different genres.
Right.
That's what it has done, and even still to this day, classical music is still my strength. And quietly, when we're at home, I practice to myself and I play. It just has me very calm and relaxed.
So you've been maintaining practicing the guitar all this time?
Not as much as I would like to. I want to do it some more, but from time to time, I definitely do pick it up and I've not forgotten it.
Do you think there's a future for the classical guitar in Jamaica?
As now called fingerstyle playing, it's hard to say. I mean, we have some like Christopher Smith, who teaches guitar at the school.
Christopher Smith?
He plays guitar for Richie Spice.
Christopher Campbell.
Christopher Campbell, sorry, yes, correct.
He was one of our teachers here. So he's teaching a classical guitar now?
He's teaching that thing. Yes, he's teaching guitar at the college now.
Because he started lessons here with Norman.
Okay.
Classical guitar.
Classical guitar. But he plays, I think, more, jazz and other styles of stuff. But what we call classical guitar, some people say, oh, you mean fingerstyle?
Right.
But played in a classical way, I say yes. So, like. But no, they're gonna actually use the pick and play.
Right.
So I'm saying that's one aspect, but I'm saying, can you use your fingers? Thumb, I-M-A.
Right.
And they say, oh, that's different. So they have to put on the pick.
Right.
And then.
Right. But earlier you were playing the bourrée.
Yes.
Play a little piece of that. So like a piece like that, which has a bass line and harmonies and so on, studying that repertoire, so not just the technique, but also the repertoire and the approach to using this instrument. Do you think there's a future for that in Jamaica? And applying that and developing that.
I do. I just think that it's going to take a different type of a platform, more persons who are along that path to teach it, like Sean Richards,
right?
Norman McCallum. I think it has to be. We have it in the hotels, I think, but I don't think it's enough around Jamaica.
Right.
You know, I think more the young upcoming guitarists don't want to play.
Right.
You know, instead of
Right.
But there is a future of it. I just think that we have to. It's kind of difficult, but I think we as maybe the fundamental teachers of the instrument have to apply it some more, and maybe to play it more around Jamaica, so other students can other young guitarists can actually see it, because I don't think it's done enough.
What's next for Michael Fletcher?
What's next? What's next for Michael Fletcher is that I'm planning to work on a bass dub album called Mega Bass Presents Mega Dub. So that is something I'm kind of looking forward to experiment in using my 6-string bass and have some loops played and So it's like me and a drummer and
Right.
somebody playing some samples, something like that. That's what I'm more thinking about doing now, and seeing how I can start it towards this end of this year into next year, and then head to Europe with it.
Mega Bass is a nickname that you got.
Yes,
Who gave that nickname?
I did.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to the performance on the 20th.
28th.
Acoustic Delights.
Yes.
And continue to explore your story. I think it's fascinating.
I'm looking forward to seeing you perform. I've not seen you perform quite a while on the guitar, and of course Norman and Sean. But I've been looking forward to do it because it's quite a while. I mean, everybody sees what I've done over the years in bass, you know. But now it's so going to see it in a classical way, not in a different way. Because a lot of persons don't know that I even started with the classical guitar.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Thank you so much.